What's going on, guys? This is Lior and welcome back to my channel. Now in this video, I am super excited to present to you my final product here at the Ash Mountain Townhomes. We have just completed these 2 units. They are on the market and I'm just so incredibly excited about this project. It took a lot of work, a lot of effort, but the result is incredible. I wanted to give you an inside tour of and talk about a lot of the finished details, a lot of the kind of thinking that went through on the construction side to execute. So I'm going to give you a full tour, show you exactly what we did, what went into it. We'll talk financials, budget, etc. Let's go right into it. There's a lot to cover. Let's get at it. All right, so welcome inside the house. So as I said, I'm just going to highlight a lot of the finished details, some of the stuff that took a lot of effort, time, coordination to really put together. So let's start. We're obviously right in the entrance. We've got our powder room here. One of my favorite details about the powder room, if you actually look at the ceiling, is we did a drop-down ceiling with like a waterfall backlighting that you can see. And the way we did that is we dropped the ceiling, mudded in channels all around, and you can kind of, and then wallpaper the walls. So you can kind of see a very cool backlight effect of the light almost waterfalling right on the ceiling. You see this in a lot of like high-end hotels, right? You might have noticed that. It's actually not very expensive, just takes a little bit more coordination, right? Because the electrician's got to wire everything. You got to mud in the proper channels, but the finished result is unbelievable. I mean, you literally feel like you're in a luxury 5-star hotel. Just a nice little touch. So that's the first little thing. That's the powder room. Now we're gonna walk into the rest of the unit. One of the things you'll see throughout is a lot of custom work. So, our vendor that did our cabinetry did a lot of our custom built-ins, starting with our, right here with our bench. These are custom slats. The color scheme actually here matches the kitchen cabinets and actually matches the exterior, which is really cool. And then the other thing too, right at the entrance, you'll notice, like we do this in a lot of our high-end projects, underlighting on the stairs. So we grooved in LED channels underneath all these stairs right here. Again, it's just an awesome little, like, if it's at nighttime, you don't want to turn all the lights on, you just want to have a little accent lighting. It's an awesome feature. And this time we really grooved it in really nicely, so it's super tight. Now we walk into the main showpiece, the kitchen, the living area. A lot of coordination here. A lot of finishes that we've done in other places, but again, these are $2 million townhomes. So attention to detail is absolutely critical. You can see in the kitchen, these were done again by a custom kitchen vendor. These are all slab cabinetry with paneled appliances. It's a Fisher & Paykel package. So you have your fridge, your dishwashers paneled. I'll show you guys in a second. I love this color that we did with the cabinets. This is a custom color. Again, there's obviously additional costs with this, with custom colors, but because of the price point, because it was a $2 million price point, we really wanted to make the product stand out. We decided to go with it. You can see it's an awesome flat matte finish. The wooden cabinetry here has a little more grainy detail on it. We started doing these sorts of pantry closets too in a lot of our projects. Again, kind of leaves the wall open, so you have, it feels a lot more open, but you still have a ton of storage. I mean, these go all the way up. You can store, you can treat this as your pantry. Plenty of space. You have another whole pantry closet here too, actually. Again, same thing, ton of room. And what we love about it is it allowed us to do this nice big window right in the middle. It was a thing that we were working back and forth a lot early on with our kitchen design, but we really wanted this window here to let more light in the kitchen. That was really critical. Right over here, you'll see the panel dishwasher. Again, obviously all the cabinetry is matching, so that flows really nicely together. Dining space goes, this is the official dining space here. It's a nice flow, right, because it goes right to your slider. Another little detail, not crazy expensive, but we always do it in our projects. In the first floor, our HVAC vents, they're actually, they're matching white oak, so they kind of blend in with the floors. Again, nothing crazy, but it's just the small little details that make it seem a lot more thoughtful, and it's just nicer than your typical metal HVAC grill, right? Now into the living room, actually quite a bit of details here. The first you'll notice is on top here is a strip LED lighting accent. You know, we've been doing more and more of these in a lot of our projects. Again, cost-wise, not crazy expensive. You know, our electrician's had to wire this in. The channels themselves are not that expensive. The board and plaster contractors, they had to mud in these channels in there to really get them nice and flat. But the look is unbelievable, right? I mean, again, kind of gives you a high-end hotel vibe. You know, you get just nice little mood accent. If at night you're sitting here, you can turn off all the lights, just have the strip light. You're watching maybe some TV. It's an awesome feature. And then of course, the main feature kind of finish here is of course the fireplace with these custom built-ins. So the same vendor that did our kitchen cabinets did these custom built-ins for us. A lot of detail going on here. We worked really hard with our vendor here to make this design come together. There's a lot of framing details. When we were actually doing the rough framing, we had to make sure all the spacing was correct between the fireplace, the shelving. Obviously, you can see here we have the same underlighting here. So the vendor actually grooved in these channels right here. But there's coordination with the electrician, right? Because the electrician needs to run his wires. And then you can see the same slat detail up and down, right? It's the same as in the entryway. Again, this is all coordinated with our custom vendor, but just the end product comes out unbelievable. And then of course the main fireplace wall. This is an electric fireplace. This house is fully electric. You know, we have to build all electric now. We don't use gas. So it's an electric fireplace and then a nice kind of concrete tile. We worked this tile out with our designer to kind of give it a nice, you know, just very authentic, organic look to it. So overall, just a lot of little details here. Again, just, you know, a lot of coordination with our vendors, everyone to get this kind of finish done. Now, the next space I wanted to highlight is the primary suite here. So we're entering, this is all part of the primary suite. One of the first things I want to show you guys is actually the closet. This is a nice big closet. Again, our same vendor that did all of our custom built-ins did these closets. You can see we paid a little bit extra for the wooden accents on the shelving. You know, I like that. Again, it's a tad more money. You can see also we ran a wooden trim here. It's a little bit more money than just doing all white closets, but again, it's a nice touch. It kind of goes with the organic theme that we really created in this house. So we decided to spend the money here. So nice big closet, you know, for the primary. Now, as we actually enter the bedroom, we did a couple of fun details here. First, the bedroom wall we wallpapered just to kind of give a nice little accent wall. You can see too, lighting wise, we have recessed lights. And then if you actually look, we have backlit soffits. Now this is our second time doing backlit soffits in a project. This time we did it a little bit cleaner, a little bit of a nicer finish. I really like the way it came out. Again, this kind of it gives you kind of a vibe of a super high-end resort or hotel. Very similar idea as the other. You know, we had to work with our board guy, an electrician to run the wires. Our board guy would mud in all the LED channels, and you can see kind of the end result, right? It's kind of like this little waterfall of light running on your ceiling. You know, at night, if you're just hanging out, you know, maybe half hour, you're reading in bed, you turn off your recessed light, you just have this as an accent light. It's awesome, right? It's a great feeling. The other thing we did too, you know, we kind of thought about the consumer, right? If they're gonna be lying down here, let's say it's late at night, you wanna turn this off, you don't wanna get out of bed to go to your main panel, to your main switch. We ran switches for them here. So again, just really thinking about who our end buyer is, what are the kind of little details they're gonna wanna see. A few other kind of nice details we do in all of our primary suites. We run our outlets on the baseboard. We typically do that on all of our primary suites. You can see that's all around. It's just a little bit of a nicer detail than having it in the wall. It's a little bit more higher end. And now for the primary suite, which is probably one of my favorite primary suites that we've done. What we really wanted to do here is create a true spa-like suite, right? That was kind of our initial vision that we put together. And you know, it's obviously a trend right now, but you know, we want to create something just very organic, very spot, very crisp. And I think we did a pretty good job with it. So you can see that, I mean, I got to give credit to the designer. She chose an incredible tile package. You can see the floor tile runs up onto the ceiling, so it's one cohesive look. And then you've got our ribbon tile here as the accent. One little other detail that I love here is over the tub we did 3 little pin lights. You know, so that again, if you're just hanging out here, you want to take a nice bath. Let's say it's the evening, you close your big recessed lights and you just keep your small pin lights right over here. You've got a nice shelf here for soap, whatever you need here for your bath. You can just hang out. And then of course the shower. In this particular shower, what we decided to do is a curbless shower. So you can see right here, there's no curb, right? So we had to frame that in, work with our framers to really work that out. So we're able to get the glass right onto the tile, with a center pitch. It's a huge shower, really, especially for this size unit. Of course, we have a backlit niche. We do that everywhere. But overall, just a very calming, soothing feel. Our custom vendor worked on this master vanity package, and again, I mean, it all came together really, really tightly. It just feels very much like you're in a spa. Very soothing, which is the look we were going for. And one other area I wanted to highlight that I think is a little bit different than others is the lower level here, the basement. So typically basements can feel very tight, especially ceiling height wise. And one of the things you'll notice here is this is actually a full height basement. There's a full 9 feet here. It's not like an 8-foot basement where it can feel a little more cramped. And we were able to get this when we were working through our planning phase with our engineers. That's one thing we really look for is being really able to maximize the lower space. It just, having the 9-foot ceilings in the basement makes it feel a lot more like a true living space as opposed to just another accessory little hangout space, right? So it obviously costs us a little bit more money. You have to excavate a little further. You obviously have a little bit more concrete. You have more concrete materials, concrete labor, because your foundation walls are larger. But with all that being said, the end product I think just is so much better. It feels like a true part of the home. It's not like just a little crammy, little nook. And one of the things we do in a lot of our projects, of course, in the lower levels, we do our wet bars. I love this we chose this custom piece of quartz. We have shelving with a strip lining underneath. Same exact thing as the other built-ins. We work with our custom vendor who was able to groove this in, make it look super, super smooth. Of course, a beverage fridge. And again, even of course we have the bedroom and the bathroom, but you'll notice as you walk through here, because of that additional ceiling height, it really does make a difference, right? I mean, it does not feel like a lower level. Like just based on the ceiling height, this kind of feels like any other room in the house, right? You're not cramming, you don't have the ceiling like a foot above you. It truly feels like any other space. It's a good sized bedroom, good sized closet. So it all kind of, that extra ceiling height really made the space feel so much cleaner and gave it a much better feeling overall. So hopefully you guys got a sense of some of the details. This is still not the entire unit, but I wanted to showcase some of my favorite parts of the unit, which we did. There's still a full third floor here. That's awesome. That's got some details, but this video would end up being an hour and we just can't do that, right? So we highlighted some of my favorite parts of this, of our unit here. In terms of financials and all that, I will actually be doing a separate blog post once these units sell, and I'll kind of break down everything. This was our project. In terms of timeline, we bought this but almost a little bit over a year ago. It was last summer. We were able to kind of really work quickly through the permitting phase here, the construction phase here. We did it really well. We started right after the new year. It's now the summer, so we're able to execute at a really good pace here. Even with all this, you know, a lot of little finish work and details that needed to go in here. So overall, the project, you know, it was something that we were really happy to deliver. I loved how it came out, and yeah, make sure you be on the lookout for the final blog post that has a lot of other you know, detailed breakdowns. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the tour. I'll see you on the